Well, it's here, ladies and gents. Christmas Day as a Newcastle fan has arrived. The fixtures have landed. I didn't get a wink of sleep last night. Excited to wake up and see who we've got. And we're going to be looking at them a little bit closer. The opening games, the games to finish the season, the Christmas fixtures, and of course, the games that are going to be sandwiched between that lovely Champions League campaign that we're about to embark on. We're going to look at everything a little bit closer, so do us a favour, Newcastle fans, make sure you stick around. Welcome back to Black and White Banter, you lovely Newcastle fans. And it's not only a sunny week and a sunny day, it's a sunny day where the fixtures have landed. It just teases you, gets you a little bit closer to the football season. It just sort of lets you put a toe in the water of Premier League football being back and St James's Park being rocking again. It's what we all look for in the summer, and they have landed. Before we get into that though, Newcastle fans, do me a favour, whack me a little like, which takes you no effort in the slightest but means a lot to me. And if you like my opinion by the end of this video, drop down and give me a little subscribe. We are on social media across everything. It's never often very serious on social media, but we are there posting every day. Black and White Banter, all one word. Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram we've had to start again because the Instagram bosses must be Sunderland fans. They've shut us down, so we've gone from 4K to restart. So that one's a bit of a slow burner at the moment, but get us across everything. Do that now. So yeah, excited as hell to see the fixtures come out. Obviously, we are all looking for that first game of the season. Who are we playing on opening day? We have got Aston Villa at home. Not the worst game, not the easiest game. Aston Villa, I fully expect them to strengthen further this window. They've already brought in Tielemans from Leicester. Emery's done a fantastic job there. They are going to be stronger next year. They're going to be spending money to prepare for their European campaign in the Conference League. It's a tough game. It is. And when there's no form going into opening day, we don't know which way it could go. I would like to hope St James's Park, the crowd will be absolutely rocking that day, as it was against Nottingham Forest last season. That could be a contributing factor when there's no form. So, not the easiest of start. Now, looking at our August and September first 5 game run-in, we probably have the hardest out of any team in the Premier League. And by hardest, I mean we are playing no teams outside of last season's top 9. We've got Villa, Man City away, the first away game. I always look for the first away game because I can't wait to get back on that bus. We don't have a good record at Manchester City. We played a little bit better there last season when Lascelles was drafted and we only got beat 2-0. But generally speaking, we normally shit a shit ton of goals and we normally get beat, as every team does in the Premier League. So not the nicest of away games. We've then got Liverpool at home. Second home match. You'd fully expect Liverpool, who finished the season so strong, to maybe come back as a different animal this year. They've already brought in McAllister. I think Liverpool will be spending a lot of that. They had an awful start to the season, but I think maybe players like Núñez and whatnot probably bedded in as the season went on. They had injuries to Diaz on their wing, who was a brilliant player for them the season before. So I expect Liverpool to be a different animal at the start of next season. So that's a difficult home game. It was one of the only teams to beat us at St James's Park last year. Then we've got Brighton away, who again were brilliant last season, getting European football. De Zerbi doing an absolutely fantastic job. And then we've got Brentford at home. Sorry, I'm just looking at the fixture list just to the right of the camera as I talk through everything. So 5 teams there who were all very strong last season. So as far as an opening run-in goes, it probably we've definitely got it the worst. Am I scared of any of them teams? No. Maybe Manchester City aside. We will strengthen this summer. Eddie Howe will have them players fully prepared for that season opener. We play in Premier League teams in our pre-season over in America. So I don't fear that opening run-in, but it is difficult. And for me, what that hammers home is how we need to try and get transfer business done early. Get the bodies through the door, get them bedded in, because things are going to start fast and ferocious. Once we get them fixtures out the way, we go into sort of the back end of September's when we finally play a team outside the top 9, which is Burnley, newly promoted Burnley. October's not looking too bad. West Ham, Crystal Palace, Wolves. November, Arsenal and Chelsea. So November's not an easy month. And then December, bloody hell, there's 1, 2, 3, 7 games in December. 7 games. And the game I always look out for is Boxing Day. Do you know why? Because Boxing Day is the best away day of the season. We haven't got an away game. We are at home. I hate home fixtures on Boxing Day. The city's a bit flat. Transport's a nightmare to get there. I just like to get on the bus and have an away day out with the lads. So that's a bit of a kick in the balls for me. Manchester United at home and away is always a game I look out for personally because I hate them. It's the biggest home game of the season for me. We've got Manchester United at home on the 2nd of December. We've got Manchester United away back end of the year. We have them on... where we at? Manchester United away 20th of April, so we haven't played Man United that late in the season away from home for a very long time. And we finished the season, our last 3 games in May. Burnley away, they could be fighting for their lives. Brighton and Hove Albion at home, which again we've just had them second to last home game this season, just gone. And then Brentford away, so we will probably be on the boats again for the last game of the season down in London, what will probably be glorious sunshine again. February and March are quite levelled out, as you'd imagine, because we've played a lot of hard teams. Like in February we have Luton, Forest and Bournemouth. March we have Crystal Palace, Wolves and West Ham. So we don't have many months. I mean, December, I know I mentioned having Man United at the start. In December we've got Tottenham, Liverpool and Man United all in the same month, sandwiched between games against the likes of Fulham, Luton. Now the Luton game made me laugh because we've got them on the 23rd of December, and obviously the reputation for Luton's away end, as you've seen, you walk through housing estates. Imagine the disappointment of children in those houses attached to the Luton Stadium when they think Santa has arrived early the day before Christmas Eve, when they see a fat man running around the living room. It's actually just Newcastle fans trying to find a toilet to have a shit before the match. So that's going to be an amazing away game. I don't think I'll get tickets for that one because the allocation will be so small. But that Luton away game is just a unique trip. It really, really is. The January break for the players, I believe, is going to be between the 14th and the 20th of January, where there's no football at all. The players just get a total rest. I think that's when Eddie Howe will probably take the players over to Saudi Arabia again, as he's done the last 2 years. But more importantly, Newcastle fans, if I flick over my information, we are in the fucking Champions League this season. So the Champions League match days are sandwiched between, first and foremost, in mid-September, but our first Champions League game, which is the most exciting of the last 20 years of supporting this club for me, is between Brentford at home and Sheffield United away. So after we've got the Champions League out the way, we could be away from home. We could be Germany, Italy, Spain. We are going to Sheffield. So not too much of a long trip for the players after that first Champions League game. We've then got our second Champions League match between Burnley at home and West Ham away. So quite a long London trip after our second Champions League game. We've then got Wolves away after our third Champions League game in October. Then we have Arsenal at home and Bournemouth away between the fourth Champions League match in November. That's quite a spicy combination. That's a tough week. Back end of November, Chelsea at home, Manchester United at home with the Champions League between. That might be the most difficult week in our season. Depending who the Champions League opposition is, depending where it is in the country, Chelsea at home, Man United at home, and Champions League during the week. That is a big fucking week for this football club. And last but certainly not least, mid-December, just before Christmas, Tottenham away and Fulham at home with Champions League sandwich between that. We are in the Champions League, Newcastle fans. So I just thought it was worth sharing who we are playing around that. The fixture congestion this season is going to be mad. There's going to be a lot of these matches are going to be moved for TV. Our first game against Aston Villa has already been confirmed as 5:30 on Sky. We're going to be playing teams in the Europa League, the Europa Conference, so there's going to be a lot of Sunday games rescheduled. We've got the Carabao Cup, which I hope we can get another good run in. The FA Cup starts in January. Will we go into the Europa League from the Champions League? It's just such a congested fixture list. But I'm probably more excited for this season when them fixtures came out this morning than ever before. We get that first 5 games out the way, that tough 5 games. Then we can start looking at that first Champions League game. Then we can play a couple of teams maybe less opposition. I know every Premier League match is difficult, but that first 5 games is very, very tough. But I cannot wait. I cannot wait. That's why I woke up today like a kid on Christmas morning. Newcastle fans, let me know your thoughts on the fixtures. There's even some fans on Twitter said they think there's a bit of corruption going on with the Premier League, deliberately trying to give us a hard opening start to the season because with the newly taken over team by the Saudis, you know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, so I'm not going to get into that debate. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, ladies and gents, but there is talk of that on social media. And of course, all the leaked reports from yesterday were totally wrong. Shock. That random photo you saw on Facebook or what you heard from Dave down the pub wasn't actually the opening game fixtures. Would you believe it? 20th season in a row, the leaked information has been wrong. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, Newcastle fans. What's your standout game? Do you have a family member who supports a different team? What do you think our toughest month is? And how do you think we are going to get on looking at them fixtures with that Champions League, Carabao Cup and FA Cup in mind as well? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I want to know if you've stuck around this long. Whack the subscribe, whack the like, and I will see you probably very shortly for a transfer video. I'm not going to talk about the Italian we've been linked with until it is set in stone. That's not this YouTube channel. You can go and find someone else who's going to claim that we've already signed him pretty much for clickbait. That's not black and white banter. I'll see you on the next video, Newcastle fans. Away the lads.